Hey guys, welcome. This is our EA conference review. So we're going to start with EA in E3 of 2019. Now, I already picked out and gave you final impressions, or first impressions rather, of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order in a separate video. But since we want to go ahead and grade every conference, as we do every year, let's go ahead and jump in. Today, I'm joined by Alex and other Joe.
Hey.
And also, Dell.
Hey,
He's a floating voice.
Corporeal,
voice, as you knew what I was trying to say. All right.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So right away, obviously, we start with their strongest thing. It looks like Greg from Kind of Funny Games is our host. So I think he did a pretty good job, You always got to get somebody really brand friendly to do these things. Obviously, you'll never see Angry Joe up here doing this. But he did a good job of mostly staying out of the way, throwing some jokes every once in a while, and talking to the developers. So what we got basically is a bunch of gameplay. Now, I already basically went through all this stuff, so I'm going to skip through it here and allow Joe and other Joe and Alex and Dell to talk about how they felt about the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. What do you think, Joe?
Mine doesn't do that. I'm excited to play it. I saw the gameplay, and I think this is going to be their strongest thing they have.
You really?
Yes.
Okay. Did you feel that the game was a little underwhelming? I'm hearing that feedback a lot.
Yeah, because like we said before, I wanted to customize it, make it my own Jedi, but it feels limited here. You're going through his path, his quest, so hopefully the story is strong enough.
Yeah, I don't mind. I don't mind not being able to create my own. I think it's fine. I mean, ideally, I want to create my own.
Yeah,
but
no,
I mean,
I hate it.
They show off.
I can't do it.
They show off the powers. I mean, we do get to see a lot of them. I'm hoping what they're doing is they're just showing the basics so we understand what can happen, right? Jumping from platform to platform, going all around. We have our little Wally thing that does, cool stuff for you. I like the idea of being able to stop. Kind of freeze something in place and throw the lightsaber. So there's a lot of cool effects, and I'm hoping they're just not showing us a lot because they want to have us discover it in the game and not the
skill points. We've seen that he unlocks a skill point, so there's got to be other abilities.
I hope so, because if this is one of those trailers that shows off all the good parts, then this game's in trouble.
Yeah.
I have a few worries though, because this is Disney super taking the reins. You can tell it's Disney's has oversight on this too. Just because there's no human dismemberment in the trailer, and there's a lot of they hold back a lot, and I'm hoping that it doesn't affect the game too much, because they want this to be canon. This is all canon. This guy's a light Jedi Padawan. What's the freaking chance he's gonna have Force lightning? What's the chance he's gonna Force choke people?
It would have been nice, Joe, for you to be able to choose your path, customize, go evil with this evil freaking lightsaber, which is fucking sweet. It's my Sith lightsaber, and this is my good guy lightsaber. But yeah, it sucks. You don't get to customize your own lightsaber. You don't get to. But it's fine, okay. The guy's a good actor. He's got some acting chops, right? Yes. So he was the Joker, and he's a Jedi. Mark Hamill's Joker, Jedi. I don't know. So, I mean, but this is quite clearly the best thing that we saw at EA Plays. Now, they talk a little bit about the game and, what the things you could do in it, but it was really superficial, very superficial. Yep. And then that's it. I mean, it's pretty much over with. So we finally got to see some gameplay for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Yeah, you can tell from right there. And just overall, the conference was pretty underwhelming. They went for, a Nintendo Treehouse thing. And besides the first three, I had no interest in FIFA, no interest in Madden, and the Sims 4, apparently Dell has some to talk about that. I mean, but let's jump forward real quick. Let's go to Apex Legends. How do you think they did in presenting Apex Legends?
I don't know if this is enough.
No.
They needed something to bring, big to bring people back, and I don't know if this is enough to.
But they had the cosplayers, Joe. Look at these. They're all accurate.
It's eye candy. That's it.
What's up?
That's all it is.
Mirage.
She's real into it.
She's super into it. And live. So you needed more than this?
Yes.
Well, in this we get a new weapon. They show off season 2. We're getting a new weapon. We're getting a new champion, Watson, which is able to put up sort of electric poles, create barriers kind of thing. She's basically a baby of this arena. Everybody knows her, and she's not necessarily a mercenary like the rest of these people. And they said that they're going to focus on not timed-based things, but challenge-based things and unlocking certain things. That's what you're seeing a little bit here. They've got these special store events where if you rank in the Apex Elite queue, the top 5, then you get a new little game mode called Apex Elite.
Okay,
so I thought that was
Let's be
cool.
realistic. The chances of me being top 5, pretty slim.
Yeah, you're right, Joe. But as far as me and Del, we'll be top 5 every once in a while.
We
We're going top 5.
rarely play it though, too.
And then we'll go into the rank mode and just die in the first 30 seconds.
Right,
Yeah,
because you're going
exactly.
against other top 5 players. We'll probably get smashed, and we won't get the nice-ass skins. But that's a part of it. It's like earning. You got to earn those nice-ass skins.
No participation trophies.
So here's the thing, is what makes Fortnite a better game than this in the terms of, adding stuff, right?
It's the volume. It's the sheer volume. They're adding new modes so often. They're switching things in and out. Their battle pass makes Apexes look like a joke. They just give you so much for your time, and that's the thing. Is so gamers, their attention spans are like 0, right? And so if you're not doubling down on success, like Apex's biggest problem is they just didn't change the roadmap. They didn't like double down on, oh God, this is super, super popular. We got to hire 20 more people, 30 more people. We have to give people content so they stick around. They didn't. They just got super complacent with it. They didn't like hire a ton of new staff. They didn't double down on content. They didn't cut the patch time to half,
Yeah,
and
they
so
solidified.
Fortnite realizes, oh God, if we don't give them something every week or every other
Yeah,
week,
there are fucking biplanes in the game. There's these little fucking little carts you can drive around. There's so much really cool, interesting stuff. We saw a small tease. Now, let me go ahead and skip to the end because they hide a very small tease. They talk a little bit about Watson. We've got Golden Boy here who, is sort of taking the reins. They talk to the various developers. They do sort of admit that Season 1 was disappointing. But yet, they admit Season 1 is disappointing, and yet they don't immediately say, well, we're going to give you a lot more than we gave you in Season 1. In Season 1, we got a new weapon, we got a new champion, and we got, the various unlocks. In Season 2, new weapon, new champion, and various unlocks. You see what I'm saying? But there is the Apex Elite mode.
It was the largest free-to-play launch of a game ever. They made over $90 million in the first month, and this is what we get. Like you'd expect you'd expect more from any other company.
Right.
They needed to really put their money into development, and this is not impressive. You make tens of millions of dollars, and you realize, oh God, we have all these people.
Okay, so here's the one. Sorry to interrupt you there. This was the one thing that they showed here that was interesting. You're in the air flying. You've got these sort of drag. Oh my God, GameStop didn't disable the resamples. I'm gonna switch to a different thing here in a moment. But so you've got a massive creature with this eye that's looking at Godzilla. They're gonna include Godzilla.
Yes.
I think that thing is a flying thing. So they say, oh, well, we can't talk about it, but more things are gonna show up on the map in Season 2. What would you guys have wanted to be like? Okay, Apex is all right. That was sweet.
If they brought that monster out,
okay,
bring that out now.
What about
Holy
you?
Shit, I want to check it out.
So
they need more game modes. Like, what are they doing? Where's duos? Where's quads? Where's King of the Hill? Where's Capture the Flag? Where's things that are going to keep people interested? I don't give a shit about some gun I'm never going to unlock because I'm never going to place one in elite matches. Where's my game modes where I can sit and play for hours and enjoy myself in different variety? And instead, they're just doing the same thing over again. And again, it's like Fortnite's got tons and tons of game modes. And when people asked for game modes, they added them. And Apex is just dragging their feet on getting this variability on how you play. It's just, oh, get a skin. I'm not going back for a skin.
So yeah, highly disappointing. And then we move on to Battlefield 5. I'm gonna let Del talk. Go ahead, Del.
Battlefield 5. I guess you could say at this point it was kind of a flop with the community because they didn't really focus on anything key in World War II. They were doing like all these side stories and all
just rolled over this guy.
their fans were just like, hey, let's get Normandy, let's get the Pacific, let's get like Africa, let's get Paris liberation, Berlin, Russian, Stalingrad, and they were just like, no, look at these little rural battles, and we were like, I don't know where this is. Like,
well, we're getting new maps. They showed off Greece, North Africa, and a little and sort of an island map, and on that island map there's a little bit of a beach, but it's not what I was hoping for, which is a huge missed opportunity. Hello, D-Day, the anniversary of D-Day. You could have paid respect to a lot of people by including that map there and showing how difficult it was for our boys to actually invade the freaking beach. And these iconic battles that everybody is excited to play in World War II. But again, I guess this is leftover stuff that they had been developing with the initiative where it's like, let's do the unknown battles of World War II. So they also talk about private games are finally coming to the game, but not yet. Their private games are coming in September. September.
Hey, they didn't talk about Firestorm at all.
Right. And why do you think that is, Del?
Single thing. Probably because it sucked. Nobody was
like
playing
once or
it.
twice.
It was hilarious.
I mean, it's a fun little distraction for a few matches until you realize the issues with it, and it's just so out of place. And you were like, you know what? I want to play with tanks, and I want to play with World War II. I'd much rather be, on the beaches of Normandy. I'd much rather be fighting the Germans with the Garand, than be running around in this battle royale system. Another thing that they talked about, so this right here that we're seeing, I think that was Greece. We're getting a little bit of North Africa now. I'm trying to show you maybe the island around here somewhere. But they also talk about Metro and Underground. They're bringing the Metro Underground map into the game, which was very popular in Battlefield 3, I think it was.
4. It was 4, I think.
Well, I think it was started in 3, and then it went to 4. It's just a super popular Hurt Locker, right, with, little corridors. Are you excited about that map?
Yeah, I mean, if they let custom servers be up, because remember, we had an Angry Army server, and we had a 24/7 Operation Locker without explosives, because just having a massive fight going on for like 3-4 hours was so much fun.
And we spent like $200, $300 on that stuff, and server fees. And I was more than happy to because we were having fun. I just hate the fact that all that is pretty much taken away from us, and we've got to wait years for him to come back. Rank 50, they said, is being increased to rank limit 500 with appropriate dog tags going all the way out to that. But the most interesting part, when they finally got to something that I cared about, this was the Operation Metro, but when they finally got to the stuff I cared about, they showed the Pacific Theater.
Remember when all this stuff was included in the games when they first released? Yeah. And you didn't have to wait?
What did you think about the Pacific?
So I'm glad they're getting to it, but again, too little, too late. They didn't listen to their community, and this happens every time with EA. Everyone will tell them exactly what they want in the game at launch, what they need to do. It's like an overwhelming majority of voices, and what do? They say, no, you don't know what you want. This is what you want. You don't want dedicated servers. You don't want Pacific.
Like, we'll make them pay more for it later. But by that time,
well, this is all free, Joe. This is all free content.
Oh, okay.
So but it's backpedaling, right? They think they know what we want. It comes out. Everyone's like, no, this isn't what we want. And then they're like, well, wait. Come back and play. We're adding it because we know what you want. No.
And that's what sucks, because I hope the higher-ups don't realize that, yes, the player base has shrunk by the time this stuff comes out. And it's not the fact that we don't want it. It's the fact that you should have presented it when it first came out, and that would have been a lot more exciting for us. I just think it was a huge missed opportunity for D-Day, and now we are finally getting something a little more unique, something that we wanted to see a long time ago. U.S. forces and the Japanese Imperial Army, that stuff is going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it, but that's not for a while. I mean, they're just showing concept art. Not even, a lot of gameplay. So Battlefield 5 was the only other thing that piqued my interest, but they didn't really show the stuff that I was interested in. And then we moved on to FIFA 20, which is hilarious because Del pointed this out. In between the things, like you could see in the background, Del, what did you see?
In the beginning, for like the first half, most of the conference, you could see Anthem over there, and there was nobody there when they panned by it.
It was
It was like completely empty. It was just completely empty.
Later on in the show.
Yep.
Later on in the show, they did have an interview with one of the Anthem guys, just like they're having an interview here with one of the Battlefield or Battlefront guys. Now, I think Battlefront is one of those games that has been trucking along and actually adding content that people want. They talked about the Droidka are finally coming. I might join in on that one and check that out. I want the Gungan army, and of course, I want Jar Jar Binks. That's the one DLC that I would pay for. They didn't talk about Jar Jar Binks. I don't think that's coming, but the Droidka is coming in a lot more Clone Wars content. They seem to be stuck in the Clone War loop, but it's all good content. They even brought the Ewok stuff, a lot of stuff that I actually suggested in my review. So I feel like I owe it to these guys to go back into the game to see how it is. Obviously, it caused a huge controversy for EA, but it seems like they're trying to make good on that. Again, like with Battlefield 5, might be too little, too late. So moving on, we got FIFA. Now, we're not big FIFA fans. This isn't for us. Right? What?
So we're going to move on to.
No, we're not moving on. We will talk about it. What are they adding to FIFA? Because every fucking year it's the same fucking game. No, in this game, yes. More MUT modes. It is their moneymaker, but they're adding Volta now. They talk about female avatars are coming to the game. You can finally play as females. Well, you can play. I think you can play as females before. Maybe this is the first time, but you definitely can play as females on this street ball. Essentially, you'll have customization. They're talking tons about customization. You can have shorts. You can have khakis. You can have skin tight things. You could do this and that. And what does all this really mean? All this, if we're talking customization, they're probably going to take after.
They're going to charge 2K for clothes.
Yeah. That's what 2K does.
2K does. And Joe plays that game. And
don't buy anything.
Also, I need to.
The coins and stuff.
It's a lot of grinding.
You got to point this out, too. They already did this. They're talking like the street football is new. No, there was a FIFA street football series. I think there were 2 games of them. They didn't do well.
Yes, it's NFL Street, though, but that's different. This is a single game that's combined.
There's FIFA Street. There was a FIFA Street game in like 2012
right.
called FIFA Street, and it didn't do well.
Okay, but now you could just buy FIFA, and you get not only FIFA, but you also get the Street. So I think that this is probably pretty exciting for those out there that do like football in the traditional sense, soccer, as we would call here in the Americas. This, to me, is a legitimate addition to the game. A brand new mode where you're talking street ball. Yeah, what is this? Joe giving EA credit? Well, you know what? I am a man of integrity. I give credit where credit's due. Of course, they're very smart about not talking very much about the MUT modes. I guarantee you there's much more. However, they do fuck up and do talk about all the fucked up, stupid shit in Madden. So now we're going to switch over to Madden, which, Joe, you know my opinion on Madden.
Yeah.
First they bring hold on. First they bring out the Anthem guy.
People what's cool. You want to start building this game with them.
Let me see if I can find the exact spot.
It's been an interesting 4 months.
It's been
a booth out there with lots of fans coming to play it. But really the big thing for us this year is working with our influencers and game changers. We have our new update called the Cataclysm on our public test server, and our time here this weekend is really about
influencers and game changers who you blacklist and fire and let go and pull their videos down when they gave the game criticism, but now all of a sudden you want to work with them.
Talking to them, getting feedback from all our players so we can make that a great game.
Only positive feedback, please.
You got the marketing spiel out of the way, man. Talk to me. It's been
See, that's why I like Greg. Greg will, he's very ad-friendly, PR-friendly, but he'll still put in a few things here and there.
Interesting 4 months for Anthem. It's been an interesting 4 months. What have you guys learned? What are you pivoting?
But you see how he said it's been an interesting 4 months. That's probably the easiest way that you could have put it. Yeah. He's like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, look, it's been a wild ride. We've learned a lot of lessons over the last 4 months. I think one of the most important ones was just around listening to player feedback better. And so we spent some time really trying to get this PTS game update out making sure instead of us saying to players, hey, this is what we think's really exciting, just give them the game update and say, you come and tell us. What are the things that
Okay, see, all this stuff, basically what he said there, if Dell can't really hear him, is that he's like, we're going to focusing on what our players want. Instead of us telling you what you want, we're going to put an update out there and we're going to listen to the player feedback and figure out. But that's not true at all. They've been ignoring the fact that everybody wants more loot, right? Fix the loot, and they've been ignoring that the whole time. So this is where I give credit where credit's due. I'm going to fucking talk shit where talk shit is due, and this is bullshit right here. They really do need to pull their head out of their ass over there at BioWare. And it's just amazing to me that BioWare, this massive company, have been relegated to like a little 5-minute segment.
You know,
hey, it's been a rough year, right? Yeah, we're gonna do better. What'd you say, Del?
What's even crazier is their new content is timed. Like the cataclysms and everything, like their events they're doing, they're timed. They're finally adding stuff to the game, and they're like, yeah, it's limited.
Yeah. And so we go to Madden 20, and guys, I am so sick and tired. Let me get back to Madden here. Hold on.
Put this on.
We stopped buying it a long time ago. Madden 20, guys. I took some notes because look, I love football. And for those of you who know the story of the Angry Joe Show, Angry Joe Show started with Madden and us playing, eating chicken nuggets, seeing who can be the best on defense, 4-player co-op. And then when they went from last gen to next gen, they had none of it, missing all the features. And basically what they did every year since is, oh my God, look at this new feature. But it was something that was in the game previously, but they told it like it's a new thing. Well, guess what? They're still doing it 20 years later, 10 years later. So what do they say is back? Well, Pro Bowl is back. Shit was already in the game. You pulled it out. Now you're putting it back, and you want us to fucking go crazy over it. There's a scenario engine, which are basically dynamic challenges that will improve your player week to week. Joe, has that been in the game already? Yes, you're supposed to try to do well with your player so that his rating goes up in franchise mode. But this is already in the game in subtle ways. I guess they're putting more emphasis on it in different ways. But they tout it as a new feature. This year they're touting playbooks as a new feature.
Yeah, no, the team-specific playbooks.
Right, team-specific playbooks, the run-pass option, to be fair. But
so
this...
like if you...
Go ahead.
If you're the Patriots, you get to deflate the ball. That's in the playbook.
No, that is perfect. That is perfect. There should be espionage. There should be the sweater and the pencils in Coach's ear. But basically, this should have been in the game from a long time ago. Now, I'm also worried about the main changes they're doing. They're showing Patrick Mahomes here. What they're doing is these X-Factor abilities. Like, say, they use an example of Alvin Kamara. And they've had something like this in the game before. Do you remember when, like, I think it was Terrell Owens was on the cover or something? Or no, that was ESPN. But there was another one where it's like he has amazing hands and he'll have like the icon of spectacular catch. They're doing it again and they're just calling it something else, Joe, and they're acting like it's a new thing. One guy has a matchup nightmare ability, so I'll show you. That's what the face of the franchise, scenario engine, playbooks, ultimate X-Factor abilities. So all we need to do is switch on over to the X-Factor abilities. So what they'll do is they're like, this guy's a matchup nightmare. Or this guy's a better route runner. So he's a little icon that says he's a better route runner. Or this guy's a better catcher for running backs. That's already been there. But guess what, Joe? Superstar abilities are still there. So X-Factor abilities are in addition to the superstar abilities, and there's something called zone abilities, where if you get your quarterback in the zone by doing a challenge, he'll go hot, and he will it's like he's laser accurate on the throw. So, for example, I think they used Mahomes again. Mahomes is the only QB, they said, that can throw perfect accuracy when he's doing that no-look crossing throw. So when he's in the zone, he's got perfect accuracy. Do you know what this is going to do to the game? It's going to fucking be exploited online. And then, so you got X-Factor abilities, zone abilities, and the superstar abilities. It's all gimmicks, okay?
Some of them are crazy.
I'm sorry I went on a Madden rant in this fucking EA conference thing, but I just needed to. They also say, we have something called signature animations. Like, Zeke will do his animation of eating. Wasn't that already in the game? I guess not. There were a few Maddens that had.
There was the ESPN 2K actually had their celebration.
Oh right, it was 2K all those years ago. That you can even customize it and choose your own. But this one says, oh well, you know how Drew Brees is always holding on to his jersey. He's gonna be doing that here in the game. It's like, oh my God, Madden, so seriously. But the big thing that they said is there's gonna be new Madden Ultimate Team missions.
Of course.
Okay,
so bad.
And that will help you get more player items, so you can spend more money in this fucking bullshit.
$1 billion.
And honestly, the EA fucking conference was 3 hours long, and I just lost it here. I got so fucking mad, I stopped watching. I was like, fuck this.
He left. We were casting it together, and you just left.
I just fucking left after Madden. So you have to tell us about Sims 4, Del.
Man, Sims, I used to play.
All right,
you'd be a mermaid.
Sims.
I even commented in my stream, and Chad agreed with me completely. Out of all the developers in these presentations, the Sims were the only people that felt like they genuinely loved what they worked on and liked their game. Like these two people on that couch, they love what they do. They were like so enthusiastic, and they were like, "This is awesome. We put a lot of effort into this. We really enjoyed it." And they weren't faking it. It was a PR speech. They were like, "I love our game. Go play our game." And I was like, this game came out in like 2014, so 5 years later, they're still doing expansions for it, and they love it. Like, I was like, as far as like conference across their entire thing goes, this was their best presentation.
That's hilarious.
They were into it, and I was convinced. I'm like, I'm gonna try this because they seem to genuinely love what they do, and I was like, credit to them. This was a good presentation.
Sold you on that, huh?
I left too early. All right. Yep. Well, but overall, guys, the EA press conference, it was extremely disappointing. We got none of those amazing indie games. I guess the Sims people took over that slot of genuineness and really giving a shit and actually feeling like they have passion for their games. But they didn't show the Sea of Solitude that they mentioned before and that indie stuff. We didn't have like an indie gem that we could latch on to. No Dragon Age. No Need for Speed, which supposedly is being worked on. So very, very low-key this year. Very few people, as you can see, showed up there under the hot sun. And you had a little bit of, just everybody be excited about our games kind of thing. And it just rang hollow. Now, I will admit, I don't think it was as bad as last year's E3, where they were essentially, disrespecting, previous license with all the mobile stuff, and then they had people like go on stage and do mobile battles on stage and shit like that.
Command and Conquer,
right. So at least they weren't doing stuff like that, and so I'll give them a little credit on that. But it was really underwhelming. So let's go to final verdicts. Del, why don't we start with you? What was your final verdict for the EA Play press conference?
It was like super average. I gave it a 5. Like it's a 5. It's a 5 through and through. I mean,
and why did it get those 5 points?
So Star Wars held it up like a lot because they actually showed a lot of gameplay. They showed the actual thing, and I'm interested in that. And they were promoting that, and they showed a lot more than I thought they would. I mean, and then they just kind of did the status quo, like super average. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing. Here's what we're doing. And then the Sims was good enough, like where they were genuine enough, where I didn't get pulled down to a 4. That they ended on like a positive note. But there was nothing overwhelming, but there was nothing awful. It's like as most average as you can go on a press conference. It was like, hey, here's games.
Okay, let's go with Joe.
I'm gonna say below. I want to give this a 4.
Okay.
The only thing I'm really impressed about was Star Wars Jedi. The Apex, nothing to bring me back. Battlefield, sure, there's some cool concept art, but it's in the near future. That's probably going to get drowned out by other games that are going to pop up. I don't play FIFA. Madden just makes me mad.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Yeah, so it's every year EA is just going to be like, all right, we're going to present to you FIFA 21, Madden 21, Sims maybe 5. Next year, 22, 20. It's the same thing, but it's the same concept, just trying to make more money with FIFA. That's their main goal right now. And it's below average to me.
Okay, what about you, Alex?
I think they did a better job than you guys are giving them credit for. I mean, they're awful. They're EA, and yeah, whatever. We get on the bandwagon and hate them, but you know, I think they showed enough gameplay. I was worried that we weren't going to get gameplay for Fallen Order, so they surpassed my expectations. They showed quite a bit was in there. I don't know how good it's going to be, but that was definitely above average. They're showing that they're committed to Apex Legends. I don't think that they're doing as good of a job as I want, but I don't think that they're doing any worse than anyone else trying to prop up some of their dipping franchises. And that goes for Battlefield 2. It looks like that they're showing that eventually they're like, look, we didn't do very well with Battlefield 5. Here's some new things. Eventually, we're going to open up the entire Pacific Theater. They talked a lot about Iwo Jima. So I think that they did. Again, not a good job, but they did, you know, an above-average job. I'm not a FIFA player, but I recognize that, you know, just because it's not for me, I think that they're really trying. One, FIFA and Madden are their moneymakers. They make $1 billion on microtransactions. So they did a good job. If you're a FIFA fan, I imagine you're very excited for FIFA. If you're a Madden fan, which, I don't understand, you're probably really excited for this because they're bringing all these features back that used to be in the game. So I'm going to give it a 6. I think it's not great, but I think they did better than the average E3 presentation. There wasn't 500 little indie games or mobile games on here. They didn't do a lot of the things that really make me hate a presentation. So I think that it's just barely above average, so a 6.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. The problem is that it's on this weird, awkward scale. It's almost like EA should just stop these and just, you know, present us the games individually or something. Or I guess this is the format that we might expect from EA in the future, this sort of Nintendo Treehouse thing, no real huge conference. If I was a betting man, I'd say they go back to the spectacle once they bring some big games. I think this time they felt like they only really had one big game, which was Star Wars, so that's why they went to this format. But I will say for this format, while it was incredibly boring, while it was incredibly low effort, or it just not much to get excited about, at least they showed gameplay for Star Wars, right? Then we went into Apex Legends and we saw what we were getting there, even though I don't feel it was enough, so that's mixed. Battlefield was mixed because it's a bunch of maps that I don't really care about, but then they intrigued me with the Pacific stuff, but I know I'm going to have to wait forever, so that's one more E3, and we'll see the next one at that E3. That's when I can give you massive credit for it. FIFA is not for me, but I can say that they are putting new effort in there. Madden pissed me off, so you got negative points for that. And The Sims, I didn't watch. I'm going to leave it up to Dell, and Dell told me they did a great job there. So you bundle that all together, and I think also 4 out of 10. Okay, I just realized I gave the last EA plays a 5 out of 10. I guess that's because it had some good stuff to show, but then there was really insulting stuff to show. So actually, I correct my statement. The last EA play was better in spectacle, but there was way more upsetting and bullshit, angry rant stuff, which brought it down. This one was, like Alex was saying, they was doing their job to, you know, kind of flesh out their games and tell you about their games, but they mostly ignored all the controversy, and they really didn't have all that great stuff to show, except for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and they did their best to not address anything having to do with Anthem. Yeah, okay, it's coming, it's going to get better. This could have been their opportunity to really throw some punches and look at how awesome Anthem is now. Look at what we've been doing behind the scenes. And you know that dev live stream where Anthem looked like shit and it was hilarious? That's not how it looks. We've done a lot more work. It looks more like what we showed you at E3
not
the last
actual
year.
Footage.
Right, exactly, which they actually said was actual in-game footage, if you don't remember.
By the way, here's some stuff on Dragon Age.
And Dragon Age, yeah, and all that stuff. So, yeah, it is a 4 out of 10, and ultimately I think I found it even more boring and less interesting than last year, even minus all the angry rants. Just wanted to put that in there.
They probably had to set up the schedule, you know, months ago, and I wonder if they're like, look, we've got 3 hours. We've got these games with everything on the screen, but then they're like, it would make sense if there's like an Anthem slot that they just kind of had some of the ones like take up the time, and then maybe a Dragon Age slot. So, I mean, if they cut down an hour, like
they would have cut down. Like, I'm going to be biased here. If they cut down some of FIFA and Madden, they'd be like, all right, here's a slot.
You can't. I mean, they make $1 billion.
Those games make more money than all the other games combined.
They're going to make money regardless.
$1 billion.
This is what we did. Yeah.
All the other games combined. But all right. Anyways, just wanted to inject this in here. See you guys next time. Bye bye.